We don't want to see each other, do we? We're just going to share the screen. It's just too much. But if you do want to get a copy of that playbook, that'll be right here. Scan that bad boy up, or on the KWPR dashboard. You've probably heard of that before. They're all down here under Family Union 2023, extra links from KWPR. So if you go there, and that's where you'll find a whole lot of them. I might not even ever do some of them, but they're all there. And that's fantastic. And if you ever just want to see Ed Milat's keynote, that's right there too. I mean, there's a million places you can catch that. We talk about it a lot, but it's such a powerful speaking thing that he did. And I can't stress enough how good that was. Who runs this computer? He doesn't know how to make it work. So somehow my process here, I got rid of my, so why, all right, Dana, I know you know this. You may have forgotten it, but I know you know it. I know you've heard it, but you haven't heard it enough. At the top of page 41 in the MREA is one of the most important lines you can ever read, know, or understand at the point you're at in your career. Do you know what I'm talking about, Dana? You know you've heard it, and now you're thinking about it.
I know, it's right there.
You know? It's okay if you don't know. Go ahead, pull it up.
Page 41.
Page 41. It's my favorite line. I'll let you read it, but right here, the very first sentence.
Until you have enough leads to exceed your goals, there is no other issue.
There's nothing else. This business is based on one thing. Until you have enough leads to meet your income goals, there's no other issue. You can know all the magic about how to write up paperwork, but it doesn't mean jack diddly if you don't have anyone to write up the paperwork for. It's completely not related. It starts with leads, it ends with leads. Everything else is what you do. And there is WORK to this JOB. And that primary place of WORK is generating leads. When markets shift, our businesses become uncertain. And one of the things that your professors were trying to convince you is that real estate is unpredictable. And that makes it hard. And that's almost true. You see, what you also expressed is the reason potentially that you ended up in real estate, and that is real estate isn't unpredictable. It's in fact very predictable. It's amazingly predictable. And like you mentioned, I don't like doing the math, but the data I enjoy. And the data is very clear. If you have enough leads to generate the income you need, then it's simply doing the actions that will cause that to happen. Right? If the average person moves every, and how long does the average person move?
7.
Okay. What do you think, Teddy? How long does the average person move?
5 to 7.
I'm pretty sure it's like 7. Okay. Let's just be crazy and say the average person moves every 10 years, just because we want to make our math easy. And let's say you want to sell 200 homes this year, or 20 homes. You want to sell 20 homes. 20 homes. How many people do I need to know?
Laura, just Laura. She'll get you everything.
Just me.
How many people do I need to know? If I want to sell 20 homes and the average person moves every 10 years.
10 years.
It's not hard for you. Dana knows, because we've done this math a few times.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Multiply. You just multiply.
Right?
Got it.
But or ultimately you end up dividing, right? That's when we say real estate is predictable. If you do the actions and the average person moves every 10 years, you need 200 people to sell 20 homes. That's just simple math. But the challenge is these 200 have to be rock solid. Rock solid. So you need more leads than that. Because whether I like it or not, in this pool of 200 people, one of them is gonna call their uncle. And that means I'm at 19 homes. I just got a 5% pay cut. I don't wanna walk into my boss and say, I'd like a 5% pay cut, cool. That guy's gonna talk to his uncle, you got it. And you're out, right? So every single one of those, and that's why you gotta generate leads. Why leads? Page 41, Jess?
Leads until you have
Enough
enough
leads,
leads to hit your goals, you have nothing better to do.
you have no other issue. There's simply no other
Nothing
issue,
to do.
right? So online leads is one way I can generate them. And as we say market shift, our business becomes uncertain because the math that determines this during this year, it's gonna change how frequently people move, right? The whole interest rate thing changes that. I mean, man, back when things were like this, yeah, I moved every 10, but now I'm not selling my house. I got 3.75 interest or even better. I'm not jumping out in there, so that changes the math. It doesn't mean that people aren't gonna move. It doesn't mean anything other than it changes your math. And in that way, it's unpredictable, but it's not, it's just different. And we don't know what the numbers are. But the actions still produce results. So you're gonna have to do more lead generation to get to the same result than you used to have to do because things are a little slow. Well, that's all it means. It's still simple math. It took me 200 leads and we're gonna do less business. Now I need 250, 300, 350. Only question I have is I don't know what that number is, right? When real estate don't have enough leads, there are only two ways to get more. Create them or buy them. Cassandra Chavez. Only two ways to get leads. Create them or you buy them. That's it. There's nothing more complex than that. That's how you get leads. So those are the options. And we say buy them. You go through a third party. Anybody have any idea of a third party that might sell leads? Zillow, perfect one. Zillow, Realtor.com, 72 Sold. They all sell leads. How do you create? What are the two methods we use to create leads? One starts with
Prospecting and marketing.
prospecting and marketing, the two ways we create leads, right? So we create them through prospecting and marketing. We buy them through folks out there. Now, when you have to buy leads, which sometimes you choose to do, typically you're buying leads online. And if you buy them online through a place like Facebook, and most online places like that, these are what they call top of the funnel leads. When I say a top of the funnel, if I buy a lead from Facebook, what does that mean when I say it? I should clarify that a little bit more. If I run a Facebook ad and somebody responds to my ad, that is a bought lead. I bought a lead from Facebook. When that lead comes in, that lead could be me in your little box because I saw your ad and I clicked on it and I said, oh, that's cool. What does Dana's ad say? Boom. Are you gonna sell a house to me? Absolutely not. Try as you might, Dana. You still gotta go through my wife before you get to me, right? On top of that, it might also be me, but not me. And when I say also be me, I mean, I might be sitting on my couch, scrolling through Facebook while my wife watches a show that I can't stand. And I'm just scrolling and scrolling, and I think to myself, oh my God, that's an interesting kitchen. Boom. Now I'm a lead. I have no interest in moving. I just thought the kitchen was neat. That's a lead, right? That's a lead that comes in through Facebook. And that's why they're called top of funnel, right? Because I don't really know. They're very high, they're at the very highest level of that. Versus a friend of yours that calls and says, hey, I'm gonna wanna sell my house. Can you help me? That is a bottom of the funnel lead, right? That is right there. It's ready to go. Everything's, I mean, you still gotta go out, you still gotta make the appointment, you still gotta close the deal, still gotta get the, but that's the bottom of the funnel. Everything in between is controlled by your follow-up. But getting leads and generating leads online typically are top of the funnel. When implemented properly, and that's our goal, is to think of online leads as a supplement to our business, right? When you go to the grocery store and you cruise through there and you think about, when you normally go to the grocery store, I need milk, I need bread, I need some, vegetables, and, maybe maybe you get some meat. Those are the main staples of the grocery store, but the grocery store doesn't just sell that. Heck, they sell laxatives now, they sell all the drugstore stuff, you get a loofah while you're there, you can buy toys, you can buy a pan. That's all the other stuff, right? You're a real estate agent, you already know what your milk, bread, meat, your vegetables are. But online leads are kind of like those other things in the grocery store that you sell to make money, right? They're part of your business, but they're not the core of your business. That's not where your customers really come from. They're just extra things. Laxatives, went right there, didn't I? So when we get to social media, right? We know all about social media, that's super fun. Search engines, lead aggregators. Those are crazy words. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. When we talk about search engines, obviously we're talking about Google, but likely we could also be talking about Bing. Nobody's talking about Bing, it's just Google. And then a lead aggregator might be Realtor.com or Zillow. Those are people who aggregate leads. Now the cool thing about their leads is they cost more. But they cost more because they're much lower on the funnel. That's a person who's made more decisions than just, I want to click on this thing because it's got a cool kitchen. And so what we're going to talk about today is two parts: understanding online leads and then generating and converting them. So the first part, generating them, or the first part is understanding how they get there. Part two, generating and converting. All right. So we talked about paid social ads. Paid social ads are pretty straightforward. They're posted on social media. You've seen them. Has everybody ever done a Facebook ad? Everybody in here done a Facebook ad? Excellent. $10. When I started at this company, my PC coach made me run a Facebook ad. I got nothing. $10 though, I ran the ad. It was funny and it was bad. Toddy runs the ads now and they're much better. Run a Facebook ad yet? You can run it for $10. It's $10.
But I could, or I could get a nice coffee from Starbucks.
You could, but don't you know that if you stop buying that coffee from Starbucks and stop buying that avocado toast, you could buy a home kit. That's what the boomers say, and they mean it. All right, search ads, search engine ads are a little different than a social media post. Social media post puts on there, somebody clicks on it, right? Search engine ads are where you are placed in the search process, right? So if I search Google, if I go to Google and I search Realtor Lakeville, I can pay Google to boost where I show up in the thing. That's a different kind of ad. And I can get put in special boxes or special appearance places on that ad page to show up there. And then finally, lead generation companies or lead aggregators, Zillow, 72sold, Realtor.com. There are different ways to get into that business, and they cost quite a bit more, but they have their value, like I said, because they're typically much lower on the list in terms of their soonness to buy, their readiness to make purchase. So how much do they cost? It varies on the service, right? When you purchase an ad through Facebook, through Command, they average about $275 to $350 per lead. Generally, somewhere in that range is what it's going to come out with. If you throw $10 down, you're going to end up with 3 or 4 leads out of the ad. That's about how it works. If on the other side you like 72sold, Anybody here heard of 72 Sold? Okay, they do advertisements on television, you call the number. In order to get a lead from 72 Sold, you have to pay $1,500 to 72 Sold. You pay them $1,500 for them to forward you leads. They will typically forward you 4 to 6 leads in the course of a month that are people who want to sell their homes. If I sold someone's home, what are the odds I make $1,500? Pretty good. So if I can convert 1 out of 4, I win. But I do have to convert 1 out of 4 to make that worthwhile, right? And that's the difference, right? I'm telling you, I'm giving you people who said they want to sell their homes versus me watching TV, my wife watching TV, right? That's a significant difference in price. And it really does depend on those things in between. If on the other side, you go out to a company like Market Leader and have them manage your site and you buy into their CRM, they will charge you that. They charge $139 a month up front. That's for their platform, their CRM platform. And then every lead you get 25, it costs you $25. So every time somebody goes to your Market Leader site, you pay $25. Now again, these are somewhere in the middle of the top of funnel, in the bottom, and then you have to weigh what that makes sense, right? I can't tell you what, I can find somebody in this market center who uses Market Leader and will tell you it's the best thing that's ever been created. And I can find somebody who can tell you that 72 Sold is their ticket to freedom. And I can find somebody in here who sold at least 5 houses in the last year using Facebook, right? They're all viable. It just depends on how you do it and how you want to pay for it, right? So Instagram, if you spend $75 and your cost per lead is $3, you get 25. You get a closing out of that, it's $8,975. Your cost per closing is $75. These are average numbers. Your cost per closing to get an ad on Facebook, generate the response is $75. If you spend $100 on Facebook, you're going to get the same sort of thing, same sort of results. Cost per closing is still going to be proportionally the same. Okay. On the other side, TikTok, well, you're going to get a lot different cost per lead. So it's just going to depend on those sorts of things, right? You're going to get about a much higher cost per lead on TikTok. You didn't know you could advertise on TikTok, did you? Did you know that? It's there. And within the next month and a half, it should be available on command as well. But you can do it through your TikTok account right now and pay for leads. Yeah.
TikTok's not run by Meta, right? TikTok's
Correct. TikTok is run by the Chinese government. Just want to throw that out there, right? Search engine ads, though, they will charge you on a per lead basis, basically. So, I mean, you tell them what they're going to spend, but you're only going to get, I mean, their cost per lead is typically, like they mentioned here, about $40 per lead is what they're going to charge you with that. And you basically say, I want to spend X number of things. This is about how many leads you can expect. And they'll run your ad until they get the number of clicks, and then your ad's done. Woo, away you go. Bing, same deal, and Yahoo, same sort of deal. Where if I'm using the search engines, they're going to put you in front of people until the right number of people click. And once they've clicked, your ad is done. It's not a time thing. It's on a per lead basis. But you tell them how much you want to spend, so you can put a limit right from the get-go. Yeah.
Just like when you say per click, pretty much, are they saying like if somebody accidentally clicks on your ad and then clicks the back button and then goes to like whatever they were actually trying to go to, is that a click? Is that
Let me ask you this. If you're Google, is that a click?
Yeah.
Of course it is. So so whatever it is you have them clicking to, better be damned interesting, right? I mean, they go there and they just go right back.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money for nothing.
my husband used to do Google ads all the time, and so he gets so annoyed when I would click on the ad, like I'm Googling a company, and then it's like, it costs me money. It's underneath the ad, their name too, but I'll click on the ad. He's like, stop doing that, it costs that money. No, I
Keep
don't
doing
know, I
it,
just
man.
remember
Do it
all
all
day
day
long, click, click, click,
Keep
click,
doing
click.
it, keep doing it, keep doing it, go to the back button, keep doing it like multiple times on the same website. No, it's terrible. I'm being a real pain. Your monthly spend on Zillow. You're basically paying them, you're asking them for leads, they charge around $60 per lead, right? Now, they're not necessarily nice. Let's say you have a listing and you're paying Zillow for leads. And somebody clicks on the house that you have for a listing, do they send that lead to you? Not necessarily, and certainly not intentional. That is not part of the deal. They send you certain leads. You basically pick an area that you service, they send you people from that area or looking in that area to find a house. That might include your property that you have listed, or it might not. It really doesn't, there is no relationship there that steers that to you. 72 sold, again, you pay the $1,500 per seat. There is also a referral fee. So you pay them a percentage of the referral. Realtor.com basically works the same way, where you're paying a certain amount a month and you pay them a referral fee. Same thing with Zillow, actually. Zillow gets you a referral fee after the lead closes too. So because they're warmer, they charge you a referral fee. I like this. The common misconception, and I'm gonna have Jess kind of piggyback on this because my wife loves it when I say the word piggyback, so I'm trying to work into as many conversations as I can.
Piggyback.
She loves piggybacking. A common misconception from first buying online leads is there'll be a lot of leads, all shopping in the price range you desire, and they will all lead to a sale.
What?
That is a common misconception, and it is very missed conception. Initially, that's learning time, and you've got to think of it as learning time, because the first thing that's going to happen is if you just even do Facebook leads, you're going to get to come in, and the person's name is going to be go away. That's what's going to happen. Now, do you even know what to do with go away? Do you have any idea what you're going to do with go away? I'll tell you what most people are going to do the first time they get go away as their lead. They're going to go away. And they're going to get rid of that one and they're going to forget about it. But there's other information in there, and some people will call go away. Say, hey, go away. Thanks for clicking on my ad. I appreciate that. And the go away is to say, didn't I tell you to go away? Oh, I thought that was your name, Mr. Away. How are things doing over there? You can engage that person. They're still a person. They're just self-identified right out the bat as a jerk. But you're going to learn how to do that, right? That's a process that you kind of learn about how do I deal with these people, because there was a reason they clicked on that. And while there is a very small fraction of human beings who really just want to watch the world burn, there is another fraction of human beings who don't want to be bothered, but they still have needs. And if you can relate to go away in such a way that they go, this is not what I expected when I didn't want to be helped, right? I mean, if you've ever heard about the lion with the thorn in his paw, you try and help the lion with the thorn in his paw, he just mauls you and eats your face. But if you can get that thorn out of his paw, all of a sudden the lion's a lot more friendly. Now, I don't necessarily believe that. Don't try and look for lions and see if they have thorns. That's a bad choice. But the thought is that you have to learn through this process. Secondly, we also identified that most Facebook leads are at the top of the funnel. So I'm kind of skipping ahead a little bit, but these are top of the funnel leads. So you have to treat them very differently in how you engage them. And this is part of the learning process, right? So I learn how to do this, and how do I get in contact with them, and how do I get them to respond to me? And that's the learning period. Then, after you've been doing that for a while, then you start to get better at earning through that process. So, for example, our lead generation program here at Keller Williams, Shane now closes on average about a house a month through our lead thing, and that's not his primary source of business. I mean, he doesn't really, he has his regular business, he does about a house a month through that, but he had to learn the process well to get there, and now that he does it, it's taken him about 8 months to get there, but now he's consistently doing that, and actually probably this year he'll get up to about a house and a half or two by the end of the year that he's getting through the process. But right now he's at about a house a month. At least for the last 5 months, it's about a house a month. So And that's what they mean by earning months, where now I'm no longer just chasing the idea. I've figured out how to communicate with this process. I know how to, what leads work and where to go, and so on and so forth. So where do I start? Leads, warm connections, appointments. And that's the real difference when we're talking about leads. What are the costs and how do they figure it out? We talk about 72 sold at that $1,500 to buy a portion of their ad and then get a referral from them. That is a very warm lead in that that person has called and said, yes, I want to sell my home. Come tell me about your process. Now, if you can tell them about the 72 sold process and make that a win, you're gonna get that. Warm connections, Opcity, Ojo, Realtor.com, those are they're warm connections where you are introduced to the person who clicked on a thing. They've already talked to them and they said, well, this person is at least moderately interested in the term real estate. And so you get to talk to them. And then we've talked about the other ones, the leads. Yeah, we know, go away. You will get those. You're not
Yeah,
criminals.
you don't have that. She's coming on. She wants to hear her name.
Mo wants to hear, I already said, Mo, your part of the story's over.
Yep, you're done.
Your part of the story's over. We've already talked about Monique. So online leads, generating and converting online leads. Sorry.
I was literally on early and there was nothing. It was just my name in big letters. So I bounced because I'm like, what is happening here?
You can't be early. You gotta be on time. And remember, I'm a wizard, so
Not
a
the
wizard is never
military.
late. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Generating and converting online leads. What are online leads? We've talked about that. How much do they cost? How many leads can I expect to generate? We know that that's based on our spend. All right, converting leads. How do we do the converting? That's the real chore, right? So, as we talked about from the generation standpoint, Google services. We might have to do that. Google services, we'll talk about that very briefly, but that's a whole class in itself. And manipulating Google in a way to work for you and being in the right boxes on Google is a thing, but it's a little bit different than AdWords. So it doesn't generate leads in the same way. It's just people finding you on Google. So the first thing you have to do when you're generating leads is identify who you want to talk to. So the first, who do I want to talk to? And if you've been to one of the evergreen ads that we talked about where you can advertise on Facebook, and maybe you advertise for 2 weeks on Facebook and your ad is open houses in Lakeville. You can create that search on your Keller Williams site. All you do is Lakeville, open houses. And anytime a human being gets that URL in the future, they will get whatever open houses are in Lakeville. The URL is not a result, it is a search term. So it sets up a search every time somebody gets it. So if they look at it a month from now, they're gonna have different answers than if they looked at it today, just by using that search. And if you were to look at running an ad for people who are looking at open houses, do you think that that might be a different client than a person who sees a picture of a home you are selling? It's a very different client. And so understanding and kind of thinking through the process, who do I want to talk to? Or how do I want to talk to people, right? Do I want to search geographically, right? So in this case, open houses in Lakeville. If I'm thinking about buying a house, but I want to buy it in Savage, I ain't clicking on that lead, right? I'm not clicking on that ad at all. I don't even care. It's not interesting to me, right? Interests. A different ad that you might run is you might do an ad and do a search kind of outlining all the places around brackets and then say interested in a home near a golf course, right? That ad and that search, anytime they come up, will always find these places around brackets or maybe a different one or thing like that. But if I like golf, I might click on that. Or need a home with a swimming pool? That's your search. Bam, right? That's a fun thing. Demographics. A little bit harder to do. And you need to be very careful about this kind of thing. So when we're talking about demographics, in this particular case, we're maybe talking about groups of people who, as an example, we're talking about their home ownership status. So maybe we're advertising to, we might set up an ad for new doctors, advertising a new financing plan that's available for residents, right? If you're a resident, you get assigned to a hospital, you're gonna live there for a while. If you don't wanna rent, you can own. Talk to my good friend around the corner, we'll call him Drake for now. And they have a very particular program for doctors who are residents. Now, if you run that ad in Rochester, that's very interesting and compelling, right? In Rochester, Minnesota, there's a lot of residents down there who are down there for a short time. They might want to own, they might not even know there's special things available to them. But if you run that in Lakeville, Minnesota, and nobody cares. There's very few people in Lakeville, Minnesota who might fit that category. If you use paid social ads, you can do custom targeting of audiences and keyword targeting. So you might do people who are interested in Zillow, you might do people who are interested in Realtor, you might do people who are looking first-time home buyer. And these are keywords that have been established by like Facebook, and you can select them from the list when you're creating an ad. But understanding who you're trying to market to. What is your strength? Molly does like retirees, right? So because she has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge in that area, that's a particular group she might go after and advertise for them. And you'd be like, I don't even want that customer because I don't know the first thing. On the other hand, I heard a realtor just the other day say, I am specializing in selling only homes that have been foreclosed on. Cool, go bro, that's your thing, you know, but you have to set up a certain type of advertising to get that market. Create captivating content. Goal of Facebook ad is stop the scroll, right? Stop the scroll, that's the whole thing, right? Guy in his pajamas, not watching when his wife works. What do I need to see? Call to action has to be clear. Learn more, right? You don't want to go, it has to be very clear what you're trying to get that ad to do. You need one picture. Toddy, what happens when you put 20 pictures on a Facebook ad?
Doesn't work. Nobody will click to view more because they're seeing everything.
Nobody's seen it. Why buy the cow if you get the milk for free?
I literally had that quote in my head yesterday. That's unfortunate.
I know.
Well, I mean, look,
It was a scenario like that.
if my neighbor is gonna give me the
Yeah.
milk, I'm not gonna worry about having a cow or going down to the grocery store, right? So if you put everything out there about the house, all the details they need, there's no incentive to go further. You need to hold some things back. And not out of maliciousness, but it's a trade. If you wanna know more about this house, I wanna know more about you. And I think that's fair. You get to decide, of course, as the person who's clicking on the ad. It's not fair, I don't want you to have any of my information. Cool, you don't get to click. You don't have to. But that's a super thing. And your picture needs to be the best picture. What sells a house more? The front of the house or a bathroom? Depends on the house, doesn't it?
It does.
It depends on the house. So be intelligent about that, right? Make the right choice. Think about that. What do you want someone to see when they're clicking on this? The less pictures you have, the better. The more that they see, the less likely they are. So don't do things upside down. All right, Google ads. The goal of your Google ad is to be the answer to the question that the person who Googled is asking, right? Sounds obvious, but how to sell my home in Austin fast. If I Google that and my ad is sell as is, pay zero fees, right? Who is my target? So if we go back to that example of Molly, who's looking for customers transitioning from their home into a retirement home, right? How am I gonna type something here that says that? You know, looking to transition to a retirement home, whatever they search, that's gonna answer that question if that's the right client I'm looking for, right? And that's how you set up Google Ads. You kind of have to think about what are they gonna ask. And then the font down there, this is gonna be the link to where it goes. So, you know, generically, if you said, if the question is Realtor Lakeville, and that's the niche you're trying to hit, I am the Lakeville Realtor, you better say something about why best-selling or top agent in Lakeville, community member since whatever. I mean, those things have to be, why would I pick this person, right? So you really have to do a lot more thinking with your Google Ads, a lot more thinking about them, because you're targeting, you're almost reversing the process, right? Because you're trying to figure out, you know who your customer is, and now you got to try and figure out what they're going to know. From there, you have to capture the lead somehow, the actual information. So if you do a Facebook ad through command, you have two options: landing page, or I can't remember what the other one's called. It's basically using Facebook for one to capture that. If you do landing page, what that tells the system is you want to capture that through your own method. Okay? Now the good news is that changes your charges, right? Because they're not actually capturing the lead for you. They're just clicking it through. And I gotta be honest with you. Have you ever clicked on something, gone to a new site, and then asked you for your information, and then you followed it? You'd were like, oh yeah, let me give you that. Terrible idea. You can do it, but it's a terrible idea. Facebook already knows who you are, your phone number, and your email address. And that's a good enough start. Well, I know a lot more than that, but that's at least what they're willing to share. Let's be fair. That is what they're willing to share with you, the ad purchaser. So if you let Facebook capture it, you'll get that information for the lead automatically. On the other side, your website, your Keller Williams website, can now be set up to ask on 0 searches, 2 searches, 5 searches, 10 searches, or never ask. But it will ask for information at that level that you set. So you can allow somebody to search 2 properties on your website, and then they have to enter their information. What if they don't enter their information? You can't search anymore. I tell you what, they're probably just gonna go to another site, search there. So maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't, but that's an option for you. And on the other side, depending on what your ad is, though, you may have it set up that way, right? And this is, again, I tailor these ads to what I'm trying to do. So if my ad is, I want to know who is interested in coming to my free pie giveaway on Pie Day, March 14th, right? So I might send them to a landing page. I don't need Facebook to capture that, because on my landing page, I'm gonna say, fill out this form so you can get a free pie. And on that form, I can ask for a lot more information and feel much better about what I'm getting, right? Because I think they want the free pie. So you better give me your phone number and your name if you want the free pie, or else I'm not giving it to go away. He's not getting it today. Never gonna call go away to do that. So you have a lot of different ways to lead capture, but you gotta think about how you're gonna actually capture that lead. These are the worst for this particular style of tweet. All right. Not all leads are created equal. Equality can differ based on your source, where the lead was generated from, as well as the offer that they're responding to. That's pretty straightforward, right? The lead who clicks a photo of a home to see more pictures and the lead who completes a form requesting to speak to a real estate agent are 2 different kinds of leads, right? And so when you click on a house on Zillow and say, I want to speak to a real estate agent, the lead generated from that is a person who wants to speak to a real estate agent versus that's a cool kitchen. I wonder what the rest of the house looks like. Very different. So one of those people is going to transact a lot sooner than the other. It's pretty obvious which one is which. Converting them can be a long process, but that's where the return is. And the average online lead takes anywhere between 6 months and 18 months to convert to a closing. So this is a longer term strategy. And Facebook leads in particular, on average, take 18 months. If you did a Facebook ad today and you got one lead, that's all you got, one lead, just put it in there for 18 months. In your mind, you got to know that's 18 months. That on average is going to take before that person converts. Now, if you know that somebody's not going to convert for 18 months and you don't call them, what are the odds they're going to convert in 18 months? Exactly 0. That ad is not enough to do the work on its own. So once you generate the leads, and this is what I was talking about, when you have a Facebook lead, you've got to have a process in mind to determine whether, strangely, that person actually does want to transact right now, or they're a longer term lead, because it's very possible that they clicked on that house because they like that bathroom and they want to live there. It's possible. It's not very likely, but it's possible. So you've got to try to get in contact with them a bunch of times. Do you answer phone calls when you don't know the number? What if you clicked on an ad yesterday? Do you answer phone calls when you don't know the number? No, you don't. You don't do it. Just because you clicked on it doesn't mean you know that the next phone call that comes through is from that person. So you need to engage a smart plan that'll immediately send out something to them. And most of our smart plans, you can go on the smart plan library as well and just look up Facebook response. There are plenty of smart plans in there that will immediately send them an email, immediately send them a text, so that they can take that part out of the process, right? Because at 2 o'clock in the morning, when they're watching television and you're in bed, they will immediately get a response that said, hey, I'll be contacting you soon. At least puts them on pause potentially, right? But if they continue looking at other houses and other places, who knows what, they get an email from one of those other services that they clicked on their ad, they might go with that person. Because in the end, what do we know about leads in general? If you get an appointment, is it the first appointment that typically gets a client, the second appointment, the third appointment, or the fourth appointment? Does anybody know? One person I might guess is Toddy, because you went to a family reunion and they put this graphic up on the board. There's a 72% chance if you're the first appointment that you get the sale. You will get the listing, 72%. Speed to lead is more important than anything else. If the person thinks they want to buy or sell a home and you show up and you can breathe on a mirror, there's a solid chance you're going to win, right? I mean, 72%, that's not very discerning. At the end of the day, when you think about that, that's not very discerning. So you've got to get there. And that's why any Facebook lead plan that's solid has a number of very quick responses: text, email, phone call, text, email, phone call, very short, in a very short, concentrated time. And then it backs way off. Because once I've established this person is going to answer me or they're not, I'm not going to make this any better by continuing to be a pest. I've just got to get over that initial hump that they don't quite know who I am yet. And then the second time I call them, first time I call them, they don't know who I am at all, so they're not going to answer. The second time, I've left a message now and they go, number, I don't remember what that is. They put it down. The third time, if they want to do business with you, that's when they're likely to start answering the phone, right? Because now, I bet that's that realtor. Well, they'll have to think about it. So it won't actually be until the fourth call. But if you actually look at the stats, sad thing is, it is the fifth call. It is literally the fifth call. 71% of clients, 74, I don't know, I have the slide somewhere, I'll look it up. Percent of clients actually transact business on that call. It is the fifth call that they decide to transact business on. And believe it or not, most agents give up after one call. And that's if you can get them to make that one call. That's a whole nother set of things. But translating that person is in there is speed to lead is the most thing. Then you've got to have the conversation in mind, right? If I click on an ad, and this is from now a year of working with OpCity and OpCity leads and those kinds of things. If they click on a thing and they say, I'd like to speak to a realtor. This is the property, I'd like to speak to a realtor. What do they want to do? What would you want to do if you saw a house and you said speak to a realtor? What do you really want to do? Just want to see the house.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm the realtor, I get on the phone with you, and I know that that's what you want, right? So the conversation goes something like this. Hey, Dana, it's nice to meet you. I'm Jason, I'm a realtor. And you like the house on 36 Willow, is that correct?
Yes.
Are you pre-qualified?
No.
All right, well, the first step to doing a house business is to get pre-qualified to house. You're going nowhere. You've already lost the lead. Dana just wants to see the damn house. That might be good business. It might be sound reasoning. But I've already lost Dana as a client. I have already lost Dana as a client. So if I'm gonna get into this business, I need to understand the business that I'm in. Hey, Dana, I understand you wanna see the house on 36 Willow.
Yes.
Can we do that today?
Yes, please.
Wow, today, all right. Here's what I'd like to do, because I don't trust you as far as I can throw you, Dana. What I'd like to do is I'm gonna take a look here, and while we're talking here, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, but I'm gonna look up some things in the area. But what interested you in that house? And while she's answering this question, I'm half paying attention, which I really should be paying attention a lot more. What I'm looking for is a Caribou or a Starbucks or something like that close to this house. Because as soon as she tells me why it is she's interested in that house, why are you interested in the house, Dana?
Need a bigger place.
Need a bigger place. Awesome. There is a Starbucks not too far from there. Can I text you that address? We can meet there and go see that place today? Right? Because I don't want to walk into that house and not know what I'm getting myself into. I don't. You know, maybe you're cool and you're fine with that. You're absolutely, I'm all in, man. And that's fine too. That could only bite you once or twice, right? And this will only bite you once in 100, and that might bite you twice. So, but at any rate, I have to understand that the person who clicked on that, what they want is to see that house. Once I've shown them the house, now I've earned the right to start talking the realtor conversation. But otherwise, I've dangled something in front of them, and as soon as they went to reach for it, I went, whoop, not there, I'm here, I'm cool. And they're not gonna want that. That's false advertising. You're kind of a jerk, frankly. And I'll be honest with you, I've seen people do it, and I understand why they do it, and everyone will tell you that it doesn't work. These leads are terrible. Terrible because you don't understand what you're getting, and you don't understand how to work with them. So you have to master that conversation, right? I want to get you the appointment, I want to get out there and see you, I want to see the place, and I want to meet you first, right? At a neutral place that makes sense. They don't know any better. They think that's awesome. Yeah. And if you pay for the coffee, so much the better, right? I'll pick up a coffee while we're there and we'll talk about what you're looking for and we'll get on down to that house, right? Cool. And that's how you can start that. What are you looking to move? That's when you start going into the LP Mama conversations or the Ford conversations to get to know them, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Toddy, do we ever talk about dreams? We do not talk about dreams because that's dumb. Hey, Dana, what are your dreams? Well, last night I was being attacked by a masked gunman. No, I don't want to know anything about that. I don't know about your dreams. What I want to know about is your future, right? So if I go through this and ask John, tell me about your family. You got brothers, sisters, something like that?
Yeah, I got a sister.
Do you? Older sister.
She's
24, awesome. What do you do for a living? You're a realtor and?
and I work for Domino's.
Work for Domino's, awesome. What do you do when you're not working? You know, what do you do for fun, dude?
Dance. You're
We
good
don't
dancer.
talk about that, Jessica.
That's like
We
Fight
don't
Club.
talk about that at all.
He likes to work out. Hey, when you say you like to work out, are you like really into it? You know a lot about it? Okay, if I had a friend who's interested in knowing more about working out, would you be a good resource or something like that?
Yeah, I
Okay, cool. So can I get your information? So if I ever have that, I send that to you, right? Cool, right? Right off the bat, I mean, this is a whole separate conversation, but this is how Ford works, right? And then what I am not gonna do now that we've gone through recreation is go, hey, tell me about your dreams, dude. That's dumb. That's goofy. It makes no sense. I'm gonna ask about the future. So what do you got planned this weekend? What do you got planned on this big holiday? What do you got planned over Easter that's coming up? Got any vacations planned for the summer, right? Something that's future-based, because if you and I can't talk about the future together, we don't have one. It's a very simple rule for any person you meet in your life. If you cannot talk about a future with a person, you don't have one. That's okay. Not everybody you want in your future, but you need to know that that's an important thing, right? And then you go into LP Mama, right? Location. Why is this the place you're looking for a home, right? What is the price? What is your motivation? My God, do you have an agent or did you click on that already? You just clicked on that, right? This might be the question that is important to ask before you go out there, right? You gotta get that, because you don't wanna go out there to Starbucks, pay for their coffee and find out you're just a surrogate while their agent's out of town. It happens. Mortgage, you do need to know. Wanna know if you're pre-approved. But I promise you, if you lead with that, you are not getting this client. An appointment, right? When can we discuss this stuff in more detail? Finally, it is consistency over time. How do you contact these people? Because most of these people are longer term. How do you interact with this person over time is what's going to matter. Can you actually provide this person some kind of value? And one of the first things you know, if they clicked on your house in a Facebook ad that you had for a listing, right? You can set them up on a search based on that house, right? You can set it up on the neighborhood if you like. You can put them in a monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan based on that neighborhood if you like. You can go into save searches and just draw a circle around that place and everything within a 20-mile radius. You can go on MLS if you like to do that better. But you can create a save search for that person and start sending them stuff. And once you've created that save search, you can send them a text a couple days later and say, hey, I sent you a search the other day. Is that the area you're looking for? Maybe they respond, maybe they don't. I can send an email a couple weeks later. Hey, I know I've been sending you some searches for that area. Are you seeing anything you like? But you've got to stay in contact with the person. Now, mostly that's all in a really solid Facebook follow-up plan that you would create. And that's what I said, when it goes from that really fast, bam, 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 call, text, email, call, text, email, call, text, email, and then it starts to back off because I got you on this search. And I start asking questions, you know. And then I can ask you just the simplest question. One of the most simple questions you can ask somebody who has not interacted with you, but they will they interact with this more than anything else. When are you looking to move? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6+ months, 6 months to a year, and a year or more. They love answering that question because they think it'll put you off. Oh, just told you how often you have to talk to them. That's all it does. Because that person's still an opportunity. It just tells you the time frame that you need to start working on that. So what are the 4 things, Toddy, anybody needs to be successful? 4 pieces of information about this contact. There are 4 pieces of information about contact that are the 20% of things that are going to be 80% of the results. One of them is their name.
Phone number, email, address.
That's it. That's what I need. In order to fully do this business and make my smart plans work, those are the 4 things I need. If I don't have any one of those 4 things, my smart plans are not going to be as effective. And for your online leads, you're probably going to capture 3 of them right off the bat. Right? Name, phone number, and email address. So then it's just a matter of their actual address. And then what you've got to do is take the time to see how they're doing. Don't just keep throwing money into the hole, right? Be honest with yourself, understand it's going to take some time, spend some money on a Facebook ad, run it for a while, and then look, did I do a good job following up? Be honest with yourself. You know what? I found that I don't want to do Facebook ads because I don't like calling them. Don't run any more Facebook ads, but don't kid yourself that you do your marketing through social media either. You can't do both. You can't say, I generate leads online, but I don't want to call people. That can't be the combo, because that just doesn't work. What questions do you guys have that I can answer for you here as we wind up for this afternoon? Jess, what do they need to know that I didn't cover?
Just do it.
You know, I'm going to be, if you've ever listened to Jason Abrams, if you know who Jason Abrams is, Mark King is the CEO of Keller Williams, and Jason Abrams is the director of industry. And Mark King is a smart guy, and he talks through everything, and he explains how it's supposed to be. And Jason Abrams is the energy guy, right? He comes around, he's a little more in your face, a little more direct about everything. But one of the things he talks about is every training has to be, there's two types of trainings that we do. We do timeless training and timely training. So as an example, this is timeless. You can use this going forward at any time, right? And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Some of them are timely, like we talked mortgage hacks, if you were in that class a couple of weeks ago, that's timely. Right now, mortgage hacks are super important, but 6 months ago, what in the world would I ever go to that class for? 30 years the way we do this, man, right? So that's a very different sort of class. But the other thing he talks about is there's two types of training. The other two types of trainings are for the fearful and the fearless. And you need to ask yourself, well, what does he mean by that, fearful and fearless? Fearless training is, here's a model, go do this. Fearful training for the fearful, we spend a lot more time talking about how to do it, how to make that call, all right? And so when we do a quick role play like we did, that's more oriented towards the fearful, right? But overall, this is probably 10 fearless or 10% fearful, 90% fearless. If this sounds hard to you, I'm not going to tell you it isn't. But everything in this business we do is simple but not easy. So this is simple stuff, but it is not easy. And if you're ready to take those first steps, and you're thinking about it, just a little afraid, you talk to somebody like Jeff, reach out to a peer, do some practices with those calls, because that's what matters, right? Not be afraid. Show up for lead gen class, and take your Facebook leads and sit down in lead gen class and do them. Because it is a lot easier to make a phone call in a room with people making phone calls than it is to make a phone call in a room by yourself and the dog knocking at the door.
You won't do it.
Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. I can't tell anybody in this room they aren't going to do it. I'm just going to tell you this, very unlikely, right?
Okay.
You show up with a bunch of people who are committed to the same thing. We know this. Studies actually show that if two people, one person stands, looks at the mountain, they go, that's a pretty high mountain. I don't know if I want to climb that. Two people stand, look at the same mountain together, and they say, we're going to hike this together. Their mind adjusts the height of the mountain 30%. How in the, does that happen? I don't know, but I know that it does happen that way. And instead of worrying about how or why, I just go, how am I going to use that? That's why I show up at Lead Gen to talk to these people that have generated through leads, right? Because in the end, till I have enough leads to make my income goals, I simply don't have any other issue. And this is one of the fastest, easiest ways to generate leads that there are. It does require you to do some work to figure them out. And that's okay. You just have to do the work. Because all JOBs have WORK. This one just has a lot of freedom.
How many different types of ways would you suggest to find leads? Like, just one? Because that's what's intimidating to me, because it feels like there's so many options that I'm supposed to be doing, but then
Well,
it just doesn't.
You should have three sources.
Totals.
Yes.
And one of those can be this.
That's
But
what
one has to be what?
I call it.
Ooh. Yes.
So they should have three lead generation sources. Now, later on, in a different market, you might expand into other options and expand that number. But in a market like this, expanding that, you're either doing marketing or prospecting, right? Marketing or prospecting. Marketing is anything that costs money. Prospecting is direct and doesn't cost a lot of money. When you get into a place where the economy is great, you're doing well, you know what? Sure, you can try and put your face on grocery carts and see how that works. And if it works for you, that's great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. You learn something, right? Because you either learn or you win. That's it. You either learn or you win. And that might not be the right answer in a tight economy, right? Because what works for you or what has worked for you is what's important. And your sphere is the bedrock. If you meet anybody who's on the ALC, you ask them how they started their business and how they grew their business, what's the most important place I need to go? They're going to say their sphere, period. And you're not going to do business with your sphere. You're going to do business with the people that your sphere knows. That's where the business is. It's not your sphere. So don't call them up and ask them for business and think that that's where the business is coming from. You've got to call them up and ask them who they know that needs help. because they trust you. And I'm gonna give you to someone I trust, right? They're their friends. I don't wanna help. I mean, it's not that I don't wanna help you. I just understand that you'd already call me if you knew. But I want you to remember tomorrow when you go to work and somebody goes, I think I'm finally ready to buy a house. I know a guy. That's what you want to have happen. If you didn't make that call yesterday, they might know a guy, but it ain't gonna be you. And that's what the point of talking to your sphere is, right? That's the point of talking to your sphere, is who do they know? Because if you have, right now, you just took one your phone, you said, I have 100 contacts. Well, everybody in your sphere has 100 contacts. So that first ring is 100, that second ring, 10,000. I like the 10,000 odds better than 100, right? Boom, see, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
And if you do your practice buyer consultation, your practice listing appointment, you're showing them how you're a professional. At the end of it, you got, my goal is to help 13 families. Who do you know I need to talk to? They hand you the referrals. If they don't hand it to you that day, you say that thanks for thinking of that. Can you, or no, thank you for thinking about that. I will call you in a month. Put on your calendar, call in a month. Right.
And then don't start with that. Hey, I called you because this. Be a nice human being,
How's it going?
right? Be personable, and then say, hey, bet you remember, don't you? You know why I'm calling you,
I
don't
bet you remember what happened a month ago today. You just
This is
send
probably the greatest day of your life 30 days ago.
You bet me, send them an empty letter.
When we talked about what your house might be worth. But I gave you a homework assignment. And like any good teacher, I'm here to collect. Right?
So question.
Yeah.
I currently do the quarterly call plan. I love how that's been going, but I'm finding at this point, I don't have enough contacts in my database to give me 5 phone calls every day for those 90 days. Should I switch to the monthly until I have enough contacts to be able to say, because I'm kind of, I'm reaching out to them and it's going well, and I'm reaching out to them text, phone, email, letters, but I want to call them and actually have like.
How many calls do you make a day?
I will go anywhere from 5 to 10, depending on how many people I actually get to talk to. But then when I'm reaching out, or I have my quarterly call plan tasks set to just give me those tasks for the day. But for the past, I think like 4 days, it hasn't given me any tasks, so I've been making them. But I'm like, oh, I just called you 3 weeks ago, or
It's a little
6
weird.
weeks ago. I don't want to call again and ask and say, hey, I know we talked about this already, but I don't know. What would you?
I would say that that's immediately where you need to start thinking about
Yeah.
who can I add to this thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're nice, Dana. And I mean, you call me with a business thing, but if you started calling me every week asking me about my shoe size.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's just annoying. Nobody
you
wants to talk about
I mean, you're cool and all, but,
Be like, but stop calling me, please.
or you better start inviting me to do more fun things. I mean, it's not just gonna talk on the phone. You better be
Yes.
offering me a trip down to the pizza joint. and
Yes.
Go see movies together and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff, right? Or whatever that goes on from there.
Yeah.
But the point is that you have to start thinking about who are those people. And
Yeah.
one of the other things I talked with an agent about yesterday is calling up small businesses that you're affiliated with, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that you know somebody's in a small business and they're a carpenter. Hey, John the carpenter, how's it going? Great, things are going wonderful. How's business going, right? Occupation, recreation, we're doing that fun. What do we got going on in the future? Hey, while I got you on the phone, would it be okay if I referred friends to you who need carpentry, right? Of course he's gonna say yes, he wants business, right? While I've got you though, I have another question for you. Who are 2 more people that you do business with that I need to get the word out about to my clients? Now, you just got 2 contacts. You call those contacts, hey, I was just speaking with John the carpenter, and he said, you're a really amazing plumber. I'm in real estate, and hey, I just wanted to get to know you so that if we're comfortable, and if you're comfortable with it, I could send clients who have plumbing needs to you. Would you be open to have a conversation about that? Well, hell yeah, I'd love to get some more business. Right? We go through the conversation, I get to the end of the conversation, I say, hey, what's going on in the future for you? What do you got planned for the summer? Pooh, yay, that's exciting. As a plumber, pooh is gonna be super exciting, important. And then I say, awesome, well, it's been nice meeting you, Rob the plumber. Who are two people that you know that my clients might benefit from knowing? And I just start building this tree of contacts, right? And I don't really care who that, I mean, you could give me Susie the candle maker, that's wonderful. Because I'll tell you what, now I've got a gift that I can give every one of my clients to or closing. They'll buy everything from Susie the candle maker, and now they got gifts. And I call up Susie and say, hey, how much does it cost to get a candle? Because I have gifts that I give to every one of my clients right off the bat. Cool. Who do you know that I need to know that my clients could benefit from knowing? And you're creating a little circle of people that enrich your life. True, that actually enrich your life. But that would be the way I would, I mean, just absolutely cold. I have 10 people that I know, that'd be the way I would start it out. It's just, you know, who can you get me in touch with that could help my clients? Do you know any lawyers? Do you know any attorneys, guys who do odd jobs, lawn cutters?
Yeah.
Do you know that, is there a woman in your neighborhood whose kid cuts grass? I mean, anything that they give you is wonderful. And that's just, you start building the context that way.
That's a great idea, because I was talking with Jess and I want to do, you know, I'm gonna really lean into doing more open houses now to grab contacts that way, but I don't want that to be my only
No.
avenue for getting new contacts
Sphere.
at this point.
Open house.
Who do you know that can help my clients?
Right.
Like,
And that's prospecting.
Yeah.
That's actual prospecting. Or you join the local chamber of commerce or a church group or a organization, anything like that. And essentially, when you get there, you just have to have it in your mind that I'm going to leave here with 12 new contacts or 10 new contacts. You say, oh, every time you meet that meeting, there's 10 people at the meeting. I'm going to ask them, you know, whatever, and go from there. And you'll do it if you start with that mindset. If you go in there to make some friends, you'll make friends. But you won't have any contacts.
Actually did an open house the other day and met a woman, she came through and she's a house cleaner. So I was like, oh, well, that's awesome. Are you taking new clients? She's like, no, actually, but I have a friend who does it. And so I was like, oh, can you send me her information? And then, oh, I have a friend that's a stager, would you ever need that? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. So then she texted me all the information so that.
So you actually gave 3 out of that, right? Because she
Yeah,
texted you,
she
because you
texted
get her
me.
information and the other 2. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's also,
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of working. And that's the goal.
And it just came from conversation, like, oh, what do we do, you know? What do you do out here today?
It's not meant to, don't make it complicated. You make it complicated, it will be.
I'm totally complicating all things. Like, I think Legion. I don't know, I don't wanna call my sphere because I don't know what to say.
I would start calling your sphere just like we're talking with Dana. Just say, hey, as you know, I'm in the real estate business.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for people who can help some of my clients with problems. Who do you know? Do you know any plumbers or anybody like that you'd recommend? You can even just invent the fake scenario.
Yeah.
And if you say, do you know any plumbers? They're gonna go, no, I don't. Or maybe they do. And then you just ask that next question along the lines of, is there anybody else like that that you can think of? And they'll go, oh, my brother-in-law just started this carpentry business, you know, or he does sheetrocking, and then you started your list. The other thing that you can do with your sphere, and this sounds really crazy, is just call them up and say, hey, I know it's been a long time since we talked, but I just wanted to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. You know?
I don't know that like.
You know what I've found, like, especially talking with you, both of you, and kind of integrating, like, okay, how do I feel most comfortable doing this? When I call people, I'll have an entire thing in my head. The minute they pick up, I'm like, I've forgotten all English words. And then, but I have this just like quarterly, it's called my quarterly text template. I don't text a whole lot anymore, but it's just like a bunch of things to say, different scenarios. So I have calling someone with a check-in about a golden letter, calling someone based off of this smart plan, calling with this check-in, calling a lead to check in, calling because they didn't reply to my email, just like different things where it's like, okay, this is where I can start, because I'm gonna forget where to start.
I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Another
opening line, right?
Yeah.
idea might be if most of your sphere, on Facebook. And you're supposed to call Joe today, pull up Joe's Facebook page, look at Joe's most recent post. Just call him and ask him about the post. Hey, I saw you post the other day on this particular topic, and I don't like to fight with people on Facebook, but I just want to hear more about your opinion. And then, be prepared for the worst possible opinion. I mean, pick your choices, right? But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's a prompt that shows that you're engaged with the person, that they already know you, and you're not calling out something out of the blue, but it allows you to have a conversation and have a format for the conversation to Dana's point. That can be really cool, and especially if it's, something like a picture of their pet, or a picture of a vacation they just took, or something their kid did in school that's really awesome. That's really a neat thing to be able to call up and talk about, right? And say, oh, I saw that picture of your son graduating, or he made the dean's list. That is awesome. And then, I just want to say congratulations. It's a great feeling. I know that must make you really proud. And you don't even have to go much further than that, but they will.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll start asking questions too, yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing about it, right? They're going to start. I've called a lot of people just literally out of the blue. I literally have sat in a room to prove to people this can be done. Just dial numbers at random, and somebody picks up the phone. I just say, hey, I just called to wish you a great day. And you're probably asking yourself, what in the world is going on? And that's a super reasonable question, because people don't do that. But I thought it would be really cool if I just found a random number, literally dialed it out of the blue, and said to you, I hope you have a great day. And I do. Have a great one. And just hang up on them, right? And it's really funny, because as I start to go to hang up, 9 times out of 10, they'll stop me. And they'll say something. They'll be like, "That's amazing. What do you do? They start wanting to know things about me." And it's like, no, I have to make 10 more of these calls. I don't have time. No, I'm kidding. But I mean,
I have to talk to 10 other people.
10 other people at random. But it's a lot less awkward ultimately than you think it is. And again, it's simple, but it isn't easy. So I'm under no illusion that that's easy to do. It's only easy for me because I've done it. And that first time I had to do it, I had to be in a room full of people. And I know that one of my triggers, or things that I like to do, is entertain people. So I turn this into entertainment, right? But if I was at home doing this right now, for me, it's super important that I teach my kids that they can be anything and that they can do anything. And there's no reason I wouldn't say, you know what I'm about to do, guys? Come on downstairs. It is really hard for me to cold call people, but I want to show you that you can do anything that you set your mind to. And while I gotta be honest with you, I'm a little afraid to make this call because I don't know the person that well. I don't know anything about them. They're probably gonna bite my head off, but I can still do it because it's not gonna hurt me. And I want you to see that you can do, when I say you can do anything you want, you can be anybody you want to be, you can. Because I can be that too.
And then they help hold you accountable, like, how many calls did you make today, Dad? And you're like,
Little bastards.
oh, right? The other thing I was gonna say is, I see Olivia does it a lot. She'll put something on Facebook asking a question, right? And that helps all the things, right? It gets people in your feed more often. And I was intentional about the question I asked about plants, who likes plants, right? And then I told Irene, like, keep track of everybody who said they like plants, and any of the people who are past clients, I'm gonna invite them in to get a plant, and then I'm gonna ask them to do a referral for me, not a referral, a recommendation, right?
A Google review.
Google review, sorry. And then the other thing is, like, if it's an agent in the office, then like I'm going to surprise them at some point, and I'll ask for the same thing, right? Because I can get a review from a fellow agent or somebody that I coach or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. And then they're like, oh my God, that is super amazing. And if it's somebody who's like out of state, I'm gonna mail her a plant, right? And then say, hey, can you like tag me on Facebook and say that that was super awesome? Yeah, I'll do that, right? So it's like, I can put that there, and then when I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Oh, I'll do the plant thing now. Right, but there was no expectation when I did the post that it's like, hey, who wants a plant, right? But then people started saying, me, and then I said, what if we did like a plant swap, right? And then I'm like, Oh, get turk, start turking stuff.
Plenty.
It's super inspiring for my little plans. I love new homes, but it's like whatever you like to do.
Be you.
Yeah.
Make a newsletter. Go home today and ChatGPT. Type it in ChatGPT and say, top 10 issues facing women with careers. It's gonna give you 10 things. Put one of them on Facebook and saying, hey, I'm really struggling with this right now. Who has some ideas? And then, when they answer, you call them.
I put some on Facebook about National Women's Day.
And when they answer, you call them. Say, hey, I really appreciate you answering my post. I wanted to hear a little bit more about what you thought. It could be anything. It doesn't even have to be that vulnerable, I mean, but there's a great way to do the prompt and react and respond kind of thing with Facebook. And that's super valuable. And like I said, just ChatGPT can cut a lot of the agonizing over, is this the perfect set of questions to ask? Because then if they're mad about it, well, it's chat. I actually have a friend who's argumentative on Facebook all the time. And so whatever he posts on Facebook, I say, write a response. I go in ChatGPT and say, write a response that disagrees. And then I put that on his page. And then anytime he gets mad at me, I go, it was ChatGPT. You know, man, I mean, it's an AI who's arguing with you. Go ahead.
That's a bot.
You're literally arguing with an AI.
That's amazing.
You're an idiot.
Literally today, Kelsey went to get her passport renewed, and the person that was in front of her was like, oh, because me and Kelsey are going to Spain. And the person in front of her was going to Barcelona tonight, getting her passport today. And the girl was like, how did you get an appointment? Where are you going? Blah, blah. And Kelsey's like, oh, we're going to Spain. And she's like, oh, what are you going to do there? And Kelsey's like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. And then Kelsey goes, well, what are you doing in Barcelona? And she was like, I just typed into ChatGPT or GPT, top 10 things to do in Barcelona. And that's how I created my itinerary. And Kelsey
Honestly though?
okay,
So
so
you
we're
can
gonna
do that.
So I'm like, oh, well, we're gonna do that.
I put in ChatGPT.
I was like, no, it's really taking over the world.
On the other side, have you ever known a human who's literally gone to a magazine and looked up Austin's Tourist magazine and they have top 10 things for you to do? What's the difference if a robot generated it?
Yeah.
Same thing. They're all taking the cash. So if that was interesting for you, useful, worthwhile, any other questions, concerns, problems?
Got me thinking about asking all of agents for reviews now.
Your mom,
My mom, I would get a great review from my mom.
Your
just make sure
lecturer,
she puts, you know,
inspector,
Mom
the
M,
people.
don't M, just have her real name.
Just mom.
Mom.
On Google reviews.
I'm Dana's
You know who else
mom.
you can get good ones from? Your lender, your title person. Those are, anybody that wants you to give them a referral.
Yeah.
I don't give referrals if I don't get a Google review. Right? Because I'm not gonna give you a client if you can't tell me why I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I typically would ask for a referral because I'm you don't get a referral until I get a referral, but that's a different level of aggressiveness.
Just 10 out of 10 best IT instructor.
Yes.
And if you know what, sir, actually, this weekend, I know I have Jess and I have talked about this. She goes to open houses, talks to agents. I went to 3 open houses this weekend and I fixed one guy's phone so he could get all his contacts. I taught another agent how to use ChatGPT to write his newsletters, right?
Oh my God, we should go together. It would be like the Jay and Jay
No.
show. The Jay, he said
No.
no.
It could be a whole segment powered by KWPR.
Yes,
Jay,
oh my
Jay.
God,
You
we'll be
could-
so obnoxious. It'll be fabulous.
You
That
guys
sounds
could
like a
blow my-
YouTube channel.
It does, exactly. You guys could market it
Wow.
and it could spread awareness about the world.
Okay, if we're not gonna go to open houses, we should totally do videos in my office, like I do.
First
Let's
it's
do
open
that.
houses, then you're fighting crime.
Yeah.
Correct! We're crime fighters.
J&J.
Okay, Jay, this is gonna be big.
It's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be
And if you don't have to, you can always use
Huge.
ChatGPT to come up with ideas.
That's all you
Exactly.
do.
Oh my God,
Mind blowing,
done.
breakthrough mastermind.
And it's done because I know you will do it.
And write your superhero manifesto.
She's so
like that.
excited. How can you say no to that face?
Right? He's like, shut up, I'll give you a plan. Just stop talking.
Buy you
You know how many people have sent me that image of the little stick figure holding back the other one saying, no more plants, like, I don't have this one. And like, the funny thing is I have all the plants in that picture. People, I don't need any of those.
Yeah.
No, in Home Depot,
Yeah.
the plant section, but you know, all the leaves from succulents that fall
Take
off,
them.
you grab them and you make new succulents.
You know
Look at all
what?
that plant.
My succulent that we got in, what's that called, beach, Laguna Beach? It's got roots.
It's got roots.
Put it in water, it got roots, and Olivia pretended to throw it out the window. And I almost
Still
started
going.
crying.
I'll throw you on the window for my plant.
She's like, and I was like, ah, and everyone in the car was like, because there were like, what?
It went
27 of
silent.
us?
It was
It
one of-
was quiet, it didn't drop, right? They're like,
I know, I
Your
was like,
plants.
I didn't know
"You
she
did
was that
And
heartless.
then she's like, oh my God, I did it here. Okay, thank you. I was really sad for her.
Yeah.
I was like, she's winning.
I had a plant that got left outside when it froze, you know? So sad, and then it just all just died, except for there was like one little shoot. And Jill's like, let's just throw it in. Oh, we can't throw it away,
It's living.
and it's got,
It's doing its best.
Wow.
He's got a
Like
second
little sign below that
chance.
says, I am Groot.
I what?
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
Oh my God, my brother, my youngest brother, he's a senior in high school now. When he was a sophomore, I know he was like mid-COVID, but they got an assignment that was they had to write an essay from the perspective of a Disney character, or
I
a
thought you were gonna say as a plant.
as a plant. No, it was a Marvel character, and he just wrote the essay. It was like 6 pages of I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot, and he got an A. Because his argument, and he's like, that's all he says. He's like, that's the essay from Groot's perspective, and I'm like, well, you're not wrong, but what are you doing? And I was just
Come
like,
on,
I was
son.
like,
Come on,
dude,
buddy.
like I don't know
Pushing
if this
you
is
up
genius or the most dumb thing I've
Don't
ever
hate the game.
I know,
Don't hate
just
the
a little bit.
game.
Yep, don't hate the player, hate the
He's
game
like,
is the correct answer for that one. He Grooted his way through that.
He really did. He's like, I'm never gonna be able to pull off anything like that ever again.
Nope, you get one.
You get one Groot essay.
That was brave to
I
turn
know.
that in.
I know. It's like, sir.
I had an evil English teacher. Ugh, she would never have attempted that.
Goodness.
Side topic, does anybody know anybody in this office that has access to Razum?
Razum?
Yeah, like not the North Star MLS, but the MLS for like southern Minnesota.
What is?
I don't.
Where you had kid,
Someone has to.
Yeah, so. I haven't just yet, but I wanna get some information out of the house, cause I have a potential buyer in the
Right.
area, and I don't have the
Yes,
access just
and-
yet, so I
okay.
just wanted to see.
Okay.
It's not on the North Star
He
MLS, there's
did that
older,
sight unseen.
like expired listings of the same properties.
Money
I
was
wanna
not
see if,
fungible, and I
like,
made it very clear to him.
there-
He called Melissa.
I know,
Voicemail, and she called him back.
I'll have to ask Jason.
And also,
things. I know some, I think I
One
know
house, if
someone
he
who
wanted to
does.
stay in St. Paul,
There's a
I wouldn't show him
team
because
in
he
St.
was
they're
interested.
in St.
Yeah,
Peter's.
there's, I know that Amber
Oh,
Seaver is in St.
yeah,
Peter.
Not Amber Seaver, the other two.
I don't know.
So, yeah. I can't remember, I'll have to ask Jason or Kelly.
Get her back to sleep.
I just talked to Melissa, she talked to him again, and
One of
she's like,
and or.
she said before on the, be late here, but she said on the voicemail, he was very calm, and she said, yeah, he was much more heated now. I know it's his dad pushing.
Laura?
His-
Okay.
it's
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt you guys. Do you have
Anyway,
access to the MLS down south, like Razum? Or are you on the?
I mean, yeah, there's not much to discuss. I took screenshots of our entire conversation of everything, and I said,
Okay.
confident I didn't do anything wrong,
Yeah.
but that doesn't.
I just feel like, so there's I have a potential buyer, and there's a house that
No,
I
you're
know
not. You know
that,
better.
that they wanna look
I
at,
mean,
and there's
It's
expired.
gonna take time and
listings
cost
on North Star,
aggravation, and
But
that's,
the new listing isn't on there, they didn't put it on North Star, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to see if there was a difference.
Front desk, they have
Bye, Kelly.
Front desk? Oh,
Bye.
okay, awesome.
Where are you going? Oh, your nails.
Yeah. And then home.
Okay.
Yeah, what a great past weekend.
Well, try to enjoy your nails.
I want you to do.
she doesn't mean that in the Macklemore sense.
I do, yeah, it's been a week, yeah. No, I don't. No, it's tough.
It is.
For everybody. I know, it is.
And,
Yeah, but I think it's gonna come back around hopefully and be a little warmer and.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
So then I can track who is on and then how it affects the business.
I got, he's not signed yet, but I had kept in contact with this dude
And.
who I met at
and
an
it's
open
like a
house
thing to help
a year and a half ago,
So like after
and he
you
wants
do
to
your
buy
morning routine,
now.
this is that,
And now I got him set up, and I'm just like.
Takes a while, man.
It does,
We don't-
sometimes it just,
Yeah.
it's a slow burn, but
One
it's
of
a
the things
burn.
that people get upset about
Right,
is they,
and, can you come in?
is the thought that their actions will produce immediate results, right? But,
Yeah.
so now there's other actions that you've done
Okay.
that are gonna produce other results, some of them 5 years from now, and some of them maybe next week.
Yeah.
But the more of those actions that you're doing, the more they start to fill in, and the closer you get to 10. I need 200 people and 10.
I was trying to remember the name of this person to tell John, but who is the, other team that's in St. Peter, not Amber
Aubrey
Seaver?
Leisure?
Are you busy
Yeah,
Tuesday?
don't they have access to RASM MLS?
Aubrey, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She's right.
He's looking for someone that has
I
access.
just wanted to update you.
For what?
I don't really finish
classes at KW.
The Aubrey Leisure team does. The leisure team?
Yeah.
But Aubrey isn't always there.
I know.
And, yes, it's the one, and our goal is to have,
Oh, Kelly's still get her nails done.
be normal, but we have something.
Alright, well, I just wanna let you know.
I can't believe that dude's waited a
And I'll
year.
probably go to the
It's been a year since we
agenda,
built
but
Everest.
And the value of it, right?
I feel bad for Kelly.
I think that's maybe.
Well,
I'm like, I've been to class.
and I'm gonna be, I feel bad that she feels bad about it, but I don't feel bad because there's nothing gonna happen.
Yes. And that's
Well,
like. your
yeah,
first
I mean,
day, that's why
nothing
we
really
started
can
at
happen,
9:30,
but
and
still,
I'm
it's
gonna
going.
trust ALC's.
And I remember the situation specifically because she showed him a bajillion places. And I think you even showed him some. And then,
And then team meeting, and then.
he finally made an offer and we were like, oh, thank God, it got accepted.
You know.
And then I remember she was like, yeah, he's gonna lose his earnings money. She's like, that sucks. Like, I remember it happening.
Schedule and time.
It's just stupid. What do you do, I guess?
And like, okay, I want these.
Kelly said she didn't feel good either.
Well, I'm sure if I'm not feeling well, we've had this shit for, literally probably since we got back from.
So just take a
Oh,
picture.
really?
Like, just so. I was.
I don't know if it's that long, but it's, you know, every day you just kind of have it and never quite get rid of it. Just go to bed. Sleep and try and be better tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe take some, I always take zinc and elderberry.
No idea.
You don't feel good.
I think I just need to find.
Yes. And then it's like, okay, what's my homework? And I'll get it done, and then the next time I'll do it. All right, lady, well, that's great.
Well, thank you.
But you got a lot.
I did, it's a good day.
Look at that ad.
Thanks,
Would
guys.
you run that ad?
What is that ad?
What could you do with $52,919? The average
Wow.
sales price increase over the past 12 months for that area.
What couldn't I do with $52,990?
But, you know, if you think about ads, that's
you know?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? How am I gonna do? Who am I gonna talk to? How am I gonna communicate to them? Just go in.
Jason, did you tell Lisa of the printer?
All right, goodbye, see you later.
Thanks for coming in.